Hi everyone, it's Jenny. I am back with um it's a coloring video, or it's like a start to finish on how I do my hair and my skin tones for my sister stamps images. It's probably the number one question I get from from customers who like our images and are not sure how to color hair and skin tones. So I wanted to do a video featuring Pua, who is our newest girl image, and just kind of show you what process I follow. Now, again, my disclaimer is that I am not Copic certified. I did take a couple classes, and I mostly learned through online videos, tutorials, and just practice. The more you use your pens, the more you'll understand how they work, and you'll probably get better results. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you some, pointers. This is how I just colored these up recently, and I did a video on this and it didn't sound good, so I'm retaping it now. But anyway, before I get into the actual coloring, let me just give you a little bit background information. I stamped the image using my Misty stamp positioner, which is excellent, by the way. I highly recommend it. I get really good results, much better than when I just stamp it with a regular acrylic block. If you can afford it, I think it's a really good product and you will get better results from your stamping. I also use the Memento ink. That has just been my go-to ink. I tried using the other hybrid ink by My Favorite Things, and I think it worked good for a little while, but I don't know, for some reason I go back to Memento. I seem to get better results from it. And the other thing that's important to note is the type of paper that you're using. So there's a couple varieties of paper that I will use when I do my Copic coloring, but this particular one that I'm using right now is the Cryogen, or I think it's a Curious Iridescence or something like that. But anyway, those are the three go-to, or the two go-to things that I use regularly, but now three, that adding in the Misty. I did do some Copic introduction kind of videos on my regular YouTube channel, which is called Crafty Hilo Girl. So if you go visit that channel and you kind of look at the history, I did a video on like the type of papers, the type of inks, and how to um like figure out which colors you want, like how like a buying guide, I guess, or how to understand what the numbering system means, and how that will affect what colors you buy. So if you don't have any background on Copics, you might want to check out those videos as well, so that you do understand. You don't need to buy every single color, and what the numbers mean and what the colors mean and how to pick your colors so that it blends nicer. So anyway, go check that out. But in the meantime, I want to teach you how I color, so that in case, and again, I'm not certified, but maybe you'll pick up some tips on helping you color up your images. Now, I learned primarily by watching someone named Suzanne Dean, and she's really good. She has a blog, I don't know how active she is now, called Scrap Bits, and I will try to link it down below. But she had some video tutorials that would teach you how to actually color, and some shading, and some other tips on how to use the pens. So before I get started on the skin, let me just kind of go over the colors that I'm using for the skin and the hair, and then I'll go into a couple of strokes that would be useful for you. Okay, so for this particular girl, because she's supposed to be more local, I wanted to go a little bit darker on her skin tone so she looked like she was tanned and, from Hawaii. So what I want to use, or what I ended up using, is this E13, and this is called Light Suntan, and that's what gives her that darker look. I also used E21, which is called Baby Skin Pink, and this is kind of in between the suntan, and it'll help blend it to the lightest color, which is E00. This is the one that I go to for my skin tones. It helps me blend everything out, and it's not too dark, so that's why I like that one. You can use other colors that look similar to it. I know there's like a milky white, and there's some other ones. You don't have to buy skin white if you have something similar. And then I also use this E02. This is my favorite blush color. It's called Fruit Pink, and I like it because it gives the illusion of blush, but it's not too bright and it's not hard. It doesn't, because it's close to skin tone colors, it actually blends nicely with my skin tone so that it doesn't look like a sharp line or anything. I can blend it out better. So that's the one I use when I'm adding blush to, especially to girls or girl animals or whatever. Okay, the other set of colors that I'm using is for the hair. So what I used on this girl here is the blacks, which is my go-to colors when I color Asian images. So the main color I'll use is black, which is 100, and that's all around the edges, and that's so that her hair looks black. Because otherwise, if you go straight into the darker grays, it's gonna look a little bit more like a grandma, and you don't want your image to look granny-ish. So the next color I usually choose is a C9 or cool gray number 9. And then I'll go to C7. And then I was supposed to grab the C5, but I have C6, and C6 will work just as good as C5. So those are the colors that I'll go to most often for coloring dark hair. I also have a favorite set of browns, which I can share with you in another video. Okay, so before we actually start coloring, okay, so the other thing you need to kind of know how to do is what I call a feathering technique. So it's basically how it's like a certain kind of stroke that you'll use with these pens. So these are like the brush tip side, and you'll just kind of go like that. So you just kind of put your pen down and then you make it go to like a point. And this is achieved by holding your pen to the side. If you hold your pen like this, you're going to get more of a point, and it'll be harder to blend out your color. So if you hold your pen more to the side, then it'll be a little bit easier. And see how that it comes to a lighter point there? That's what's going to help blend it out so you won't have these lines when you use the lighter colors to blend. Okay, and then the other thing you're going to want to know is that when you blend something and you want the lines to disappear, you're going to use your lightest color and you're going to just go over it, and then you're going to use like a circular motion, and look how the lines just disappear. Okay, so you don't see those point lines anymore, but yet you know that it got blended and it still looks dark here. Okay, so that's the technique that we're gonna try and use on the skin. For hair is a little bit different because you actually want to see the lines, because then it'll look more like real hair. Okay, so let's start with skin. And I always start with skin because then if you do the hair first and then you accidentally touch the side of the hair with your pen, it'll draw in the black or whatever color that is, and then it might ruin the face. So for me, I always start with the lighter color. So but when I start, okay, so I start with the lighter color, meaning the face, and then I'll go to the darker color, which is the hair. But when I'm starting the face, I'll start with the darkest color. I know, confusing, sorry. So in this case, it's E13, light suntan. And am I in frame? Okay, so then I'll just kind of go around the edge of the face. Oh, and by the way, it's because in my mind, the sun is coming from this direction onto her face. So if the sun is coming from this direction, then this side of her face will be a little bit darker than this side of her face. But I am going to put a little bit of shading right underneath the hair area and right on the side. And that's just so that it kind of shows that there's a shadow there. Okay, so then I'll get my next darkest color, which is E02, and I'm gonna just add in the blush, and it's just really light strokes. And like for me, I cannot, I can only do strokes like one direction like that. I can't do it this direction. It's not as comfortable for me, so I move my paper. Okay, so I'll just add a couple lines of the blush, and then I'll go to my next color, which is this E21. And I will then blend that out a little bit more. See, I'm not frame. Okay, so then I go right over that and try to blend it a little bit. And I know it looks terrible right now, but trust me, it'll look better. Okay, so then I kind of blend it out a little bit, just so that the lines aren't so harsh. And then I'm going to go with my last color, which is E00. And again, that's my lightest color. And I'm going to do that circular motion I showed you earlier. And I'm going to try to blend all of those lines out. Okay, and that is where the magic happens. Okay. So, again, you can always add more, you can't take away. So if I think that like maybe I don't like over here as much and I want to like it's too dark in that one area, then I might go back with my E21, my baby skin pink, and add a little bit more so that it blends out that. I think what it was is that line from the light suntan was too harsh, and then I'll go back with my lightest one and do that circular motion again. Okay, so that blended it out nicely. So she looks better now. Yeah. Okay, so that's how Pua came out. And so anyway, that I just kind of follow that technique every time I do the skin, and then let me just finish up the skin. So because she's a little bit darker, I'll use my baby skin pink and then fill in her neck, fill in her arms. And you can actually like add more shading down here, but I don't. And then her fingers, and then I'll do these fingers, her thumb, and her arm over here. Okay, and then she doesn't have any feet showing, so I don't have to worry about her feet. Okay, so that's her skin. And I use the same colors for the face and the body. Oh, look, I missed part of her thumb. Her finger here. Okay, so then I'm gonna go on to my hair color. Oops. My hair color. And again, I start with my darkest. So I'm gonna start with the black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of do like the outside areas, because what you kind of want is like when your hair the light hits your hair, a lot of times it forms like a ring around, the crown of your head, right? So that's what you kind of want to achieve. So I'm going to start off by with the darkest, and then we're going to move towards the lightest, which will be in the middle, and that will create that ring that you're looking for, or the highlighted area. Okay, so I'm going to just start by filling in some of these other areas here. And then let me just kind of move up. So again, I'm using that feathering technique. And the reason why I do that, and I kind of outline the area just so that I don't accidentally like gouge her face. Okay, and then I go up. And then I'll go up her bangs. And I'll kind of follow the direction of the bangs that the hair is supposed to flow. And believe it or not, you can tell like what direction your strokes are going. I remember when I used to take Japanese, they used to always tell us, like when you're writing your kanji, they used to tell us that, oh, we can tell what direction your brush stroke went, which direction, what stroke order you did it in, and what direction. And I was like, not, but I guess you can, because I can tell. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, so that's about all I'm gonna do with the black. Okay, and you notice I turned my paper upside down because I cannot do brush strokes the other way. Okay, so next I'll use my C9. So this is my next darkest color, and I'm gonna just go right over what I did already with the black. And the whole purpose of that is so that eventually it'll gradually get lighter, yeah? And again, people use different techniques. Like I don't follow the same techniques as everybody else because I am a creature of habit and I learn one way and I just can't break myself. So some people I feel like they waste a lot of ink because they're like they do the light, then they do the dark, and then they go back with the light, and I don't know. I can't do it. It's too much ink. Okay, so next I'll go with my C7, and I'll go a little bit further up. Okay, And remember, over here it's okay to kind of have the line showing, right? Okay, and then the last color I have is the C6. So I'll try to make it so it's not so much white showing now. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking in the background. She's like playing with my husband. Okay. Up. And then, so down here, I feel like it's a little too, oops, you can't even see. Okay, so down here, I feel like it's a little too light. So I'm going to go back with my C7 and I'm going to just kind of, now I'm going to kind of hold my point a little bit more vertically to just add those lines there. And you can get like a finer point line. It's hard with this camera because it's like so close. Okay, let's go. You see? Yeah. Okay, so that was done with my C7. Okay, anyway, so that is about like how, let's see, that thing is bothering me right there. So let me go back with my C7. Okay, so that is how I would normally color up my image. I don't know. That's just how I do it. If you don't like it, you can try find other coloring tutorials. But anyway, I will try to do more of these if you guys are interested. So if you're interested, leave me a comment down below. If you have any questions on how I do it or what colors or whatever, you can ask me down below and I'll try to answer them as best I can. But anyway, I hope this helped. This is kind of like your Copic 101. But if you're interested in seeing more coloring videos, then leave a comment and I will try to get to them as soon as I can. See you guys in the next video. Bye!